I have attention deficit disorder, and I was diagnosed with ADD in my early teenage years. I think I was in the ninth grade. I had just turned 14. I was promptly medicated, which was one of the most disastrous things to ever happen to me in my life. Now, I don't mean to suggest that it's disastrous for everyone, but it was for me. And it's been a long, long journey trying to cope with and understand myself, and understand what parts of me are ADD and what parts of me are just other parts of me, and what parts of me are inextricable and unavoidable. What parts of me can I change, and what parts of me do I have to accept? And having ADD or ADHD, it's sort of like leaving the house and you have that moment where you feel like you forgot something. Like, you know that feeling you get when you leave the house and you get this pang of uncertainty, anxiety, this discomfort. Something's not right. I think I forgot my keys. I think I forgot my wallet. I think I left the dishwasher running. Wait, that doesn't make sense. That probably wouldn't be a problem. I think I left the stove on. I think I left the door wide open. I think I let my cat outside. You know that feeling you get before the thought actually, that precedes the thought? The feeling of discomfort that precedes the thought that you forgot something. Like, before you reach the conclusion that you think you might have forgotten something, you just have this air of unease, this feeling that something has gone wrong, but you can't even articulate it. That moment, the moment before you think, oh, I think I forgot my keys, or did I lock the door? That moment right in between being okay and then thinking, oh, I forgot something. That moment where you have this feeling of dis-ease welling up inside of you. That's what it's like to have ADD. That feeling persists in most cases at all times, 24/7. It's never not there. It's this feeling and this sensation that something has gone wrong without being able to articulate what went wrong, or without consciously realizing that something has gone wrong. It's like a sort of subconscious feeling that something has gone wrong. I've forgotten something. I have an appointment which I completely forgot about, and I'm supposed to be in the doctor's office right now, and I completely gapped, didn't check my calendar. And it took me until in my 30s now to put appointments in my calendar. And even now, the thing is, when I'm busy, when I'm really busy, it's actually easier to manage because I can stay on top of my calendar. I can stay on top of it. I know I have things going on. I feel busy. I know I have appointments. I have things to do. I have work to do. So it's like I automatically am sort of going back to it and checking. But the moment I have like a couple days off, all of a sudden it just, I'm mentally checked out. Days blend into each other. For me, the difference between having a photo, I'm a photographer, the difference between having a photo shoot booked Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, there's no difference, there's no meaningful difference to me until the night before the shoot, if I'm lucky. It could be the day of the shoot. I can't distinguish between future dates because it's all just this blurry amorphous thing that's going on in the future. Like, people will ask me, "Do I have plans next Friday?" And I'm like, "What, next Friday? Not even this Friday? Like next Friday in like 9 days?" That might as well be in 9 months. There is no difference to me between 9 days from now and 9 months from now. It's so far away that I can't even, it makes me uncomfortable to like even think about it. It's like, what do you mean? I don't know what I'm doing that day. What an intrusive question. And I think that part of ADD is core to disorder. Okay? It's a part of what your life is going to be like. Sometimes people will tell you things and you just won't hear them and you'll forget immediately, and then a week later they're going to say, "Hey, remember that you said you were going to drive me to the dollar store today?" And you're like, "What?" That unfortunately is a reality that I think I have to live with, and I don't think that's ever going to change. The thing that I think I can change, though, is the constant state of feeling not at ease, of never feeling like I can relax. And I think that the psychologists and the sort of status quo for our lifetimes has done us a big disservice in not being able to articulate and define what's not ADHD or ADD, and the parts of us that we we do have control and power over, but because we're told that we have this disorder, it's so easy to just accept, oh, well, that's just how I am. And I'll give you an example. This feeling of constant, it's not quite anxiety. Yes, anxiety is a part of it. I'm very ADHD, ADD, and stress and anxiety probably go together hand in hand. However, for me, it's more of just like a feeling of the ground is not solid. There's no foundation. Something's missing. Something's off. Maybe I'm forgetting something. And there's like this, I don't trust myself. But the problem with this ADD is the most tempting thing to do for me is to stimulate myself in some way. It's the easiest way out, but it's weird because it's not a way out. It's kind of almost a way in. The more I stimulate myself, the more intense it seems the symptoms of ADD become. Yeah, I can hyper focus and be obsessed with something for a long time, and that might all be great. But the state of consciousness and being that I'm in when I am overstimulating myself, whether it be with substances, I'm not a drug user, but I have historically consumed a lot of coffee and a lot of nicotine. When I would constantly be consuming these mild stimulants, well, they're not that mild. I mean, let's be honest, enough coffee, you're going to be jacked up, right? So when I was constantly consuming these stimulants, it was sort of a therapeutic thing where it helped me feel more focused. But the negative side of it is something that I feel like needs to be addressed. This state of alertness, this state of feeling not at ease and not calm is exacerbated by these drugs. And it's obviously also exacerbated significantly by the use of ADD medications. Now, I think they might have some new meds out these days. It's been a long time for me since I ever took prescription medication for ADD or anything else, any other psychological issue. The last time I did that, I was a teenager. But I was put on the classics, of course, Adderall, and then they graduated me up to the cleaner versions. I ended up on Dexedrine, and they helped me focus. Yes, I'd be much better at organizing my life, but the use of those drugs exacerbates this state of anxiety, this state of, it's not even anxiety, it's this sort of vibrational frequency that you live with. It's this tension, it's this lack of calmness. It's like your body, your mind cannot be still. And that's where, the classic jokes come from about, that are a caricature, but, people, when they find out you have ADD or someone mentions ADHD, they go, there's a squirrel, like the idea that no matter what you're doing, a squirrel can run by you and then you're distracted by the squirrel, right? Which is absolutely true, I guess, to be honest. I mean, I go to wash my dishes and next thing I know, I've done 8 other things And I'm like, what was it that I feel like is missing right now? I feel like something's wrong, where am I? What am I supposed to do? And I've lost it. It's gone. That information that I needed to do the dishes has completely left my universe. So medication helps with that, and stimulants generally help with that. But the problem is they don't just help. They also, I really think they ramp up and magnify that sort of state of ADD, that sort of alert, high vibration. It feels like you're never still, you're never truly calm, you're never truly relaxed. And that's not a state that I believe that we're meant to live in as human beings. And I don't believe it's a fundamental requirement to live in that state, even if you have severe ADHD. And I think there's a part of this that comes from more than genetics, and people don't want to talk about that. It's not that simple. Like, there's discourse out there, of course, where people say ADHD doesn't exist, it's fake. And of course, with people who have this, we understand that it's incredibly frustrating to hear when people just say, "Oh yeah, it doesn't exist. Haha. You can't focus because X, Y, and Z. It's your fault. You don't have anything different with your brain." And I don't believe that. I believe ADD is real. But I don't believe we've defined it properly. I think we're missing a lot of the equation. And I think that accepting that I had ADD gave me an excuse to accept that I'll never be calm and I'll never be okay. I'll never just be relaxed and still, and I can never just feel normal. And I recently quit smoking cigarettes and all consumption of nicotine. Most of my adult life, I've been using nicotine in one form or another, vaping, cigarettes, whatever it might be. And I also quit coffee around the same time. So these are the two stimulants that I used on a daily basis in order to sort of self-regulate. And as anyone who has ADD will know, addiction is just so awesome for us. It's like the perfect deadly combination. I believe that when I was diagnosed, I recall distinctly the psychiatrist or psychologist showing me a book or a chart that said that people with ADD are 7 times more likely to be addicts, which didn't surprise me at all at the time. It made perfect sense, because a cigarette for me is it's like my best friend. It's the perfect thing to like break up this moment from the next, give me this moment of calm and peace, but it's not really calm and peace. It's sort of the opposite, because I'm like blasting my lungs and getting this rush of all of these chemicals in me, and nicotine is like, it's getting me going. But I feel like our refuge as people with ADD is typically not to calm down. It's to jack ourselves up more. It's to go even more crazy. And I'm starting to contend with the idea that that was not the right choice. And having been off of coffee and nicotine now for almost 2 weeks, it's not a ton of time, but I have noticed drastic changes in my state of being, my natural state of being. Am I tired all the time? Yes, I am. And it's no surprise, because I've been running on a jacked up nervous system for my whole life. And I'm sort of not anymore. And the first reaction that I'm experiencing is exhaustion, which makes a lot of sense, because what I've been able to do is tune down I'm sorry for lack of a better way to describe this, but it feels like it's like the vibrational frequency that I'm running at. Like I'm not buzzing anymore. I'm not like zzz. I'm like a bass frequency now. I'm like chill. And of course it's not at all times, but it's funny how rebuking the stimulants has made me more calm. And I really question whether the stimulant solution is legit, guys, or whether it's just a really good way to like cope. And there's a big difference between a great coping mechanism and like an actual solution, right? Like if you take a painkiller, like it's supposed to reduce the sensation of pain, right? That's the point of it. It's not supposed to like for example make you so fucking jacked up and like fill you with so much adrenaline that you kind of can ignore the pain because you're about to like explode. Like you get what I'm saying? That like maybe if you took a bunch of cocaine as a painkiller, right? Maybe it does have. I know that it does have numbing qualities, but if you took a bunch of stimulants as a painkiller, you might get so psychologically jacked up that you actually kind of are able to forget about the pain a bit. But the forgetting the pain is a secondary effect, right? The drug is not killing the pain directly. It's just making you so kind of like crazy that you're so stimulated that like maybe you have so much dopamine in your head that like the pain is more just something you can like ignore for a minute. This might not be the perfect analogy, but my point is that I think that the stimulants we take for ADD, the positive results we get from those may be a secondary effect. I don't think that they're necessarily helping us. And I feel very different having given up stimulants. Very different. And I question whether this state of tension, this state of feeling at unease and feeling not comfortable and not calm any time of the day, I wonder if that's a result of ADD or if that's a result of my coping mechanisms that I use in order to soothe myself. So it's just a thought, guys. I don't know. I mean, having ADD sucks in a lot of ways, and I'm not the kind of guy who's gonna say it's a curse, and I'm not gonna say it's a blessing. It is what it is. But when one of the things that sucks about it is that it's like when I talk about it like this, people just think I'm a fucking idiot. They'll just call it out and say it's fake. It's a fake disease they made up so that they could sell drugs. And it's like, what if both things were true? What if it's a real disease that they made up to sell drugs? What if it's a real thing? What if it's a real disorder that they discovered and they're like, "Hey, we can sell drugs now. We can sell drugs to kids." Both things can be true. Just because it's a legitimate disorder, just because it's something that's categorically real, that doesn't mean that the drugs are like automatically a positive and real solution. And our relationship as people with ADD, our relationship with productivity, our relationship with work and life itself, it's going to be different. It's going to be different. But for me, it's been a long process of accepting that. And it's also been a process of understanding what parts of me are like I said, are guaranteed to be that way. And then what parts of me I might find, shockingly, can change. And I still live like someone with ADD now, but literally 2 weeks off of stimulants. And all of a sudden, I can go and sit outside and work on my laptop and feel very serene and calm for a long period of time. And it's like, wait a second, were the coffees even helping, or were they actually making things worse? And I think one other thing about having ADD that is I found particularly horrible is I think it has amplified my degree of exhaustion through my life. I'm tired all the time because I can't rest. Right? There's no such thing as rest. There's not working. There's times you're not working, but you can't really rest. Or I thought that I couldn't really rest. Anyways, just some food for thought. I mean, who the fuck knows if I know anything about what I'm talking about, but the evidence of what I'm experiencing is real. And I think that now I have to look in the mirror and think about how many lies and stories did I tell myself about, well, I have ADD, so that means that I'm going to be this way or that way. How much of that is true? Because I'm peeling back the layers and I'm finding bullshit. So